Tonight changes everything. Tonight, you can tune the part of your mind that quietly looks for openings, creative solutions, and small coincidences that feel like luck. You don't need to wait for some lucky break. You can prime your brain tonight so it's more likely to notice and act on the opportunities that already travel through your day by the way you end it. I say that as someone who has worked with thousands of people trying to sleep better and think more clearly. I'm a clinician and coach. I've watched the same pattern play out in boardrooms, bedrooms, and dorm rooms. What you feed into the last hour or two before sleep becomes the raw material your brain uses while it sorts, consolidates, and prepares you for the next day. Miss that window and you train your mind to rehearse worry, replay rudeness, or keep hunting for distraction. Use it well, and you increase the odds that your subconscious will wake you to an idea, a new connection, or the energy to reach when chance appears. If this speaks to you, tap like so. I know you're here. That one small click helps others find something that could change their nights. There's a simple reason this matters. For most of human history, the brain's final waking minutes were quiet, dim candlelight, the sound of someone breathing, a short conversation, then sleep. Today, those minutes are rarely quiet. They are full of notifications, doom scrolling, comparison, and unfinished task lists. Neuroscience shows us why that matters. The 2-hour window before sleep is a hyposusceptibility period. As light fades and your nervous system downshift, your brain enters the alpha-2 theta transition, the hypnagogic state where imagery becomes more fluid. Associations are looser, and memory consolidation gears up. At the same time, the reticular activating system, the brain's attentional filter, starts setting priorities for what to notice when you wake. In plain terms, whatever you train during that window has an outsized chance of being prioritized tomorrow. Think of your brain like a search engine with a very subtle set of search filters. If you feed it comparison and anxiety at night, it will bring back matching results. If you feed it a calm intention and specific images of what you want to notice, it begins to rank those possibilities higher. That's not magic, it's priming plus overnight processing. Many people wake with clearer ideas and solutions precisely because their sleeping brain kept working on a problem. We're simply making that process directional, tuning the radio so the frequency that plays when you sleep is the one you want to hear. Let me be clear about limits. This doesn't guarantee a jackpot, a job, or a miracle cure for chronic insomnia. It does significantly increase the probability that you'll notice opportunities and wake with a clearer, calmer head. Research and client reports both suggest that consistent bedtime rituals improve sleep quality, boost mood, and sharpen attention over time. If you have a history of trauma, severe insomnia, or psychiatric conditions, check with a practitioner before relying on this as your primary treatment. These practices help many people, but they are not a replacement for professional care when needed. Now, picture your next 2 hours before bed as the most powerful rehearsal room you own. We're going to walk through a practical protocol designed to quiet the nervous system, offload the day, and plant one clear, emotionally vivid intention that your brain can work on while you sleep. The goal is to activate the luck frequency, to prime your attention and subconscious, so that tomorrow you're more likely to notice helpful coincidences and to take aligned action. This is a step-by-step bedside ritual. It takes 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how slow you go. It's simple, and it works better if you do it on paper, by hand. Paper matters physically. Writing with a pen changes the way your brain encodes and releases information. Step 1. Screens off and lights down. 60 to 90 minutes before you want to be asleep. Shut screens down. No phones, no laptop, no bright TV. Dim the lights in the room and lower blue light on devices if you must use them briefly. The reason is twofold. Melatonin, the hormone that signals sleep, responds to light. Bright screens suppress it, and cognitively, screens keep your attention in a high arousal state. Comments, feeds, and alerts prime your brain for novelty and worry, not for calm. If you work late, build a shutdown ritual. The last task ends with a short checklist and you close the laptop. Give yourself a clear ritual boundary between work and bedtime. Step 2. The breath. The breathing technique I teach is the 4-7-8 pattern. It's simple and safe for most people. Sit or lie comfortably, Place a hand on your belly if that helps you feel the breath. Inhale quietly through your nose for a slow count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 7. Exhale completely and audibly through your mouth for a count of 8. That completes one cycle. Repeat this cycle 4 times. The point is not to hyperventilate or force anything. It's to slow down your heart rate and give the parasympathetic nervous system, your calming system, a clear cue to engage. Many clients report feeling noticeably calmer after a single set. If you want to do that with me now, go ahead. In for 4, hold 7, out, 8, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat 3 more times at your own pace. Notice how your body responds. The breath is the switch that helps you leave fight or flight at the door. Step 3. The brain dump. After the breath, pick up a blank sheet of paper and a pen. Paper only, don't type. Set a timer for 5 minutes if you want, but the goal is to empty your working memory so it can rest. Write down everything that is on your mind. Tomorrow's tasks, payments, the grocery items, that conversation you're nervous about, anything unfinished. Don't organize it, just spill it onto the page. If a thought is a sentence, write the sentence. If it's a worry, write what scares you. If it's a promise, write, I will call X tomorrow. This is not the time for problem solving, it's the time for clearing. After 5 minutes of dumping, take another sheet and write 3 specific things you're grateful for from today. Not generalities. Avoid, I'm grateful for my family. Instead, write concrete moments. Grateful that my colleague covered the meeting at 3:15 so I could step out for fresh air, or grateful for the smell of coffee on the train that made me slow down and notice the sunrise. Specificity matters because the brain encodes vivid details more strongly. When you give your brain 3 detailed gratitude anchors, you help it close the day with positive, concrete images rather than vague background noise. Next, on the same page, write a single intention sentence, a one-line phrase about how you want to feel or show up tomorrow. This is not a long wish list. Use the present tense and make it about experience. Tomorrow I wake curious and steady, or tomorrow I notice one connection and reach out. Keep it short and emotionally resonant. The intention is the station you tune the reticulate activating system to, the filter that nudges you to notice relevant details. Then, add a micro-forgiveness line. This is different from a deep therapeutic forgiveness exercise. It's a release practice for your own rest. Write one sentence. I release the need to replay X tonight so I can rest. Or, I forgive myself for being human and missing Y. I will address it tomorrow. The point is conscious choice. Acknowledge, name, and let go for the sake of sleep. Remember, releasing here is not abdicating responsibility. If you need to apologize or take action, schedule that into tomorrow's list on your brain dump page. Let me share 3 quick anonymized vignettes so you can see how this looks in real life. A young professional I worked with had the habit of answering emails until the moment she closed her eyes. After 2 weeks of the ritual screen off, breath 5-minute brain dump. 3 gratitude specifics. She reported waking with fewer catastrophic thoughts and a clearer sense of what to do first. Within days, she started noticing contacts in her field she might otherwise have ignored. She described those openings as luck, but the change was in her noticing and following up. An executive burned out from nonstop problem-solving began the practice to protect sleep. He said the breath and the paper alone made his mornings less reactive. 2 weeks in, he described waking with an idea for a shift in team structure that later became a small but impactful pilot. And a woman recovering from a difficult breakup used the micro-forgiveness line every night. She didn't skip accountability when needed, but the nightly release prevented her mind from rehearsing the hurt nonstop. Over a month, she reported better sleep and waking with more curiosity about new social possibilities. These are not miracles. They are examples of what consistent priming can do. It tilts attention, reduces the noise that sabotages sleep, and creates a clearer mental landscape for the morning. After the brain dump and the writing exercises, it's time for a short guided visualization. The act of imagining tomorrow in first person, with sensory detail, This is the core of activating the luck frequency. You are not asking the universe to drop something into your lap. You are giving your brain a detailed scene to rehearse. When you sleep on that scene, your subconscious continues to run variations on it, increasing the chance you'll wake with an insight or the precise motivation to act. Here's a script you can use. Sit or lie down comfortably, keep the light low, and let your breathing return to a natural, calm rhythm after the 4-7-8 cycles. Close your eyes. See tomorrow morning from the inside of your own skin. Feel the temperature of the room, the texture of the shirt you choose, the weight of your bag, the way your feet touch the floor. Hear the specific sounds you expect: a kettle, a bus, a quiet notification. Smell the coffee, fresh bread, or rain. Now imagine one small success, not a headline outcome, but an experience. You notice a person you could talk to. You remember a line to say. You take a step you usually hesitate on. Feel the sensation of curiosity and openness in your chest. Picture yourself making one clear movement, sending one message, taking one breath before entering a meeting, asking one question. Let the scene include the exact sensory cues that will help you recognize the moment tomorrow. Stay with that image and let it be vivid, short, and emotionally grounded. The goal is not to rehearse a fantasy. The goal is to create a plausible, specific scene your brain can use as a search filter. When you sleep on it, you're effectively placing a marker in your mind's map. Look for these kinds of opportunities. Before you go deeper, remember the ethics of this. We're increasing the odds you notice opportunities and have the wherewithal to act. But this is not promise of a windfall. Think of it as tuning your GPS to preferred routes, so you're more likely to see exits you might otherwise miss. If you're following along, you should now have a brain dump page, a gratitude list of 3 specific moments, a 1-sentence intention, and a micro-forgiveness line written by hand. Put that paper face up on your bedside table. That visual cue matters. It's part of the ritual. It signals to your brain that the day has been processed, contained, enclosed. A short note about environment and partner dynamics. Because nights are social for many people. If you share a bed, agree on a simple 2-minute exchange to close the day. Each person names one small thing they appreciated about the other today, or each reads their 1-sentence intention aloud. This is not heavy couples therapy. Think of it as aligning the household's bedtime frequency. If your partner keeps the lights bright or watches news loudly, suggest a compromise: headphones for screens and a 5-minute buffer between the louder activity and shared quiet time. These adjustments matter because your nervous systems can sync across people. A restless partner makes a quieter mind harder to achieve. Intrusive thoughts are unavoidable. The hypnagogic window will sometimes produce vivid, strange images or rehearsals of worst-case scenarios. When that happens, use the notice label return technique. Notice the thought, name it briefly. For example, worry about money, label it as a thought, and return to your breath or to the single intention sentence you wrote. Don't argue with the thought. Arguing strengthens it. Fold it into your brain dump if it keeps coming back. Labeling reduces reactivity. I want to pause here and make an important practical distinction. This ritual is meant to be consistent, not perfect. It compounds. Doing it once might give you a subtle benefit. Doing it nightly for 2 to 3 weeks tends to produce measurable shifts in sleep quality and daytime clarity for most people. Some clients see small changes in days. Broader changes in decision-making and energy often show up over weeks. Treat it like compound interest for your attention. There's another quiet neurobiological reason this works. During sleep, especially during cycles, with REM, your brain rehearses emotional and procedural patterns and consolidates associative memory. If you go to bed with a clear, emotionally charged intention, the networks linking that intention to sensory cues and action plans get tagged for consolidation. Your sleeping brain is a problem solver. It reduces prediction errors and tries out scenarios. By giving it a specific, sensory-rich target, you increase the chance that when you wake, the brain will hand you a trimmed down, actionable insight instead of the sweaty knot of undigested worry you'd otherwise get. At this point in the ritual, you might notice 2 parallel processes: the calming cascade from breath and low light. and the priming effect from the specific images and intention you planted. Both are necessary. Calming alone without priming tends to produce restful but directionless sleep. Priming alone without physiological downshifts tends to keep your system aroused and resistant to the incubation process. The breath buys you the physiological readiness. The page gives your brain the cognitive content to work on. If you have questions about whether this will work for your particular if you do shift work, have children who wake at night, or are recovering from trauma, use the principles and adapt. For shift work, compress the ritual into a shorter window that still precedes your sleep. For parents, do as much as you can with 5 minutes. 1 breath set, 1 minute gratitude, 1 line intention. Small, consistent signals accumulate. We've covered the core steps: screens off, 4-7-8 breathing, 5-minute brain dump on paper, 3 specific gratitudes, a single intention sentence, a micro forgiveness line, and an elemental first-person visualization. Those are the pieces that, when combined, form a durable nightly protocol to activate the luck frequency by changing what your brain is asked to prioritize overnight. Before we move on to deeper guided work, one more small but powerful habit. Decide tonight on one tiny action you will take tomorrow that aligns with your intention as single reachable behavior. If your intention is tomorrow I wake curious and steady, your tiny action could be ask 1 question in a meeting or walk for 5 minutes before checking email. If your intention is tomorrow I notice 1 connection and reach out, the action could be send 1 introductory message. Write that micro action under your intention on the same page. The reason is simple. When you wake with an idea, it's easy to defer. A pre-decided micro action collapses the friction between noticing and doing. Now, let's begin a deeper guided visualization together. Lie back, let your breath return to a gentle cycle, and call up the one morning scene you wrote on paper. See it from inside. Feel the sequence of small moves, the touch of the doorknob, the warmth of your coffee, the exact words you used to introduce yourself. See the person you want to meet, not as an abstract someone, but with a detail, a color of jacket, a laugh, a posture that will help you recognize them. Imagine the moment of noticing. Feel curiosity instead of anxiety. Let your heart rate be calm. Let your movements be steady as you deepen the image. Add a sensory cue you can notice tomorrow to trigger the intended action: a ringtone on silent, a pen in your hand, a specific stretch before a call. Anchor that cue by imagining touching it now. Give the scene small imperfections. Make it plausible. The brain prefers realistic tasks it can rehearse. Breathe calmly, and when you feel grounded in that scene, say your intention sentence aloud to yourself quietly, with conviction. Tomorrow I wake curious and ready. Or choose your own line and speak it as if you already intend to act. Let the sentence sit in your chest like a short chord. You are not commanding fate. You are choosing a filter. Hold that state calm, focused, receptive, and imagine going to sleep from inside that calm scene. Feel the room around you, the way you imagine you, Ellie, wake into it. As you begin to drift, notice a small detail at the edge of the scene, something like a faint light or the soft hum of a neighbor's appliance. That edge detail is your brain's invitation to link the internal scene to external cues tomorrow. When that cue appears, you'll be more likely to orient toward the action you rehearsed. If you're following this protocol tonight, you're already doing the most important part: shifting the content you feed into your 2-hour window before sleep. You've slowed your breathing, cleared your working memory, anchored the day with 3 specific gratitudes, chosen 1 intention sentence, practiced a short forgiveness release, and planted a sensory-rich scene for your brain to work on overnight. These elements together increase the probability that you'll notice opportunities and wake with the internal clarity to act on them. There's a practical step to finish this section. Tuck your pen into the page, fold the paper if you like, and place it face up on the bedside table so it's visible in the morning. This small visual reminder connects tonight's intention to tomorrow's habit. If you share space with someone, consider reading your 1-sentence intention aloud. Invite them to do the same. Synchronizing even for 30 seconds reduces household friction and increases the chance both of you wake with aligned priorities. A cautionary note before we proceed further: if you find, on some nights, That emotion surge, panic, or flashbacks pause the visualization and return to breath. If these experiences are frequent or intense, please consult a mental health professional. This protocol is supportive for many people, but it is not a substitute for trauma-informed therapy or medical intervention. We're about to move into practical tips for dealing with intrusive thoughts throughout the night and strategies for aligning partner schedules and household lighting. We'll also explore how to extend the visualization into a longer practice for people who want a full bedtime ceremony. But before that, take a moment now where you are to feel the shift the ritual creates, even in these early steps. Notice any softening, any decrease in mental chatter. If you feel even a little quieter, you're doing the right thing. You're telling your brain that tonight it's allowed to close shop and focus on one clear map for tomorrow. When you wake tomorrow, keep the habit small. Before reaching for your phone, look at the paper on your bedside table, read your intention sentence, and take one slow breath. Then, do the tiny action you wrote down. The combination of overnight priming and an immediate, pre-decided step collapses the delay that usually turns insight into "I'll do it later." The sooner you act, the more likely that small action will compound into larger opportunities. As you're beginning to feel the rhythm of this practice, there's one more element worth noting. The reticular activating system does not just increase awareness of possibilities, it shapes what you look for. If you tune it to urgent problems, it will alert you to threats. Tune it to curiosity and calm opportunity, and it will help you notice people and moments that match that filter. Over time, the cumulative effect is not small. Nights of disciplined priming, improved sleep, decision, and the subjective sense of being in the right place at the right time. That's what people mean when they say they got luckier. It's attention, readiness, and follow-through aligning. We'll get into partner negotiations, detailed sleep hygiene tweaks, and a longer guided visualization next. For now, keep your page, your breath, and your intention close. If you're ready, let's deepen the visualization together. Imagine the scene again, richer this time, and allow it to be the last thought you carry into sleep. Good! Let the image settle. Breathe into it for a moment. Feel the small, believable details you chose, the texture of the mug, the exact words you use, the way your shoulders release when curiosity leads instead of fear. Now, we'll expand that scene, layer in a few practical anchors, and close with a longer, actionable set of habits you can use tonight and every night after. Start by taking 3 slow, settling breaths at whatever pace feels natural. Now no need to force counts. With each exhale, imagine the edges of the scene falling into softer focus. In your mind's eye, move through the morning sequence as if you already lived it. You wake, you see the paper on the bedside table, you read your intention, you take one slow breath. You perform the one tiny pre-decided action. Picture the exact micro-movement you selected: rolling out of bed, placing your phone face down, opening a message and sending it, standing in the doorway and greeting someone with a curious question. Make each movement small and doable. The brain loves small rehearsals because they create a short chain of steps that can be executed quickly when the moment arrives. Anchor the sensory cues into that scene, one internal and one external. The internal cue is a felt sensation, a soft expansion in the chest, a coolness in the palms, a brief tightening and release in the throat. The external cue is something in your environment. You can reliably notice a particular mug on the counter, the hum of your kettle, a certain song in the playlist you use for the morning. Imagine touching or noticing both cues now. Feel the internal cue rise and fall as you move through the scene. See the external cue in vivid detail. Linking a felt state with a reliable external trigger gives your brain a 2-layered map. When that external cue appears tomorrow, it will more readily bring the internal state with it. Now, let's add a tiny rehearsal for resilience. In the imagined scene, include a small obstacle, delayed message, a brief technical glitch, a person who arrives late and imagined responding with the posture you chose in your intention, calm curiosity rather than panic. Hear the tone of your voice when you ask a clarifying question. Feel your shoulders lower. Notice how you take one deliberate breath before replying. This practice is not about creating perfect outcomes. It's about training your system to respond differently when the usual friction shows up. Over time, that rehearsed response becomes more available in real life. When you're ready, let the scene fade slowly and return to your natural breath. Keep your eyes closed if you wish, and let the day's imagery settle into a soft, neutral place. Place one hand over your heart or on your belly for a moment. This is optional, a gentle signal of ownership over the ritual. Remind yourself, quietly, I have prepared my mind for action and rest. Then allow sleep to come if it does. If you want to build a longer nightly practice, add these layers over time rather than all at once. The core routine screens off 4-7-8 breath, 5-minute brain dump, 3 specific gratitudes, 1 intention sentence, micro forgiveness, first-person visualization, and a tiny pre-decided action will get you far. The extensions below are optional and especially helpful if your schedule allows a longer wind-down. Begin with the bedroom environment. Temperature matters. For most people, a slightly cool room somewhere around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, plus or minus a few degrees based on comfort, tends to support sleep onset. Dim the lights and, if you use a bedside lamp, choose a warm bulb rather than a cool, blue-tinted one. Blackout curtains or an eye mask reduce stray light that can interrupt melatonin release. Consider minimal white noise or a Lavalian fan if ambient sounds wake you. For others, silence or soft, natural sounds are preferable. Keep the bedroom primarily for rest and intimacy. Reducing daytime clutter in the sleep space signals safety to the brain. If you're someone who uses the bedroom as an office, try to build a clean psychological boundary. Remove work materials from the immediate sleep area or put them away in a clearly marked box before the screen-off time. Caffeine and alcohol timing are simple but important. Avoid caffeine after mid-afternoon if you can. Half-lives vary, but late stimulants commonly interfere with sleep depth. Alcohol may help you fall asleep faster but tends to fragment REM cycles later in the night, which is the sleep phase associated with emotional processing and creative problem solving, the very mechanism you want to harness for the luck frequency. If you do drink, aim for a buffer of several hours before bed. And be mindful that it may blunt the quality of incubation your brain accomplishes overnight. If you share a bed, the household rhythms matter. Try this short script for negotiating a bedtime buffer with a partner. Say, can we try a 30-minute quiet window before sleep tonight? I'm testing a short routine to help me sleep better and show up calmer tomorrow. I'll keep my phone away and read by the dim lamp. If it helps, I'll use headphones for anything I need to watch. Be specific, brief, and framed as an experiment. You might add a reciprocal offer. If you want, we can both name one thing we appreciated about each other today. Watch how small calibrations like this reduce conflict and increase alignment. If one partner prefers later lights, suggest staggered timing or headphone use. If noise is unavoidable, try earplugs or a white noise machine to shield fragile slow-wave sleep. Parenting presents special challenges. When children wake, rituals must remain flexible. In that case, compress the protocol into a compact version you can always do. 1 set of 4-7-8 breathing. A 1-minute brain dump, a quick list of 3 things on a sticky note, 1 brief gratitude anchor, and 1 intention line. When you have longer stretches, return to the fuller practice. The point is regularity, not perfection. Consistency, even in small doses, is what accumulates. Shift work and irregular sleep windows require adaptation. The principle remains. Create a buffer before your sleep period, whatever time of day that occurs in. Reduce blue light exposure. Do 1 or 2 cycles of the 4-7-8 breath and perform a micro brain dump and intention. For night shift sleep in daylight, use blackout curtains and an eye mask to mimic darkness and support melatonin. Melatonin supplements can be useful for shift workers in some circumstances, but consult a clinician before beginning supplementation. Intrusive thoughts and the hypnagogic boundary can be tricky. We already introduced the notice label return method, which is extremely practical, and here are a few ways to expand that strategy. 1. The category label. When a thought arises, briefly tag it with an accurate category: planning, worry, replay, what if, or memory. Naming the category reduces the thought's novelty and emotional charge. To the parking technique. If a thought persists, give it a parking spot on your brain dump page before sleep. Create a tomorrow column and write the thought there with a short action you'll take if needed. The brain likes closure. When you say, "I'll handle this at 9 a.m., you reduce its urgency at night. 3. The breathing return. After labeling or parking, take 3 calm breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale gently through the mouth, and return to your intention sentence or the visualization anchor. The breath functions as a reset. For cognitive diffusion, Q. Use a short phrase like, "That's just my mind or thought passing," spoken quietly. This shifts your relationship to the thought. You're observing it rather than identifying with it. 5. Grounding anchors. If a surge of anxiety feels sharp heart racing, sweating, switch to a grounding technique. Notice 5 things you can see with your eyes closed, 4 things you can feel, 3 sounds, 2 smells, 1 breath. This is brief and physiological. It pulls your nervous system back into the present. If intrusive imagery is flashback-like or traumatic, stop the visualization and focus entirely on breath and grounding. If this happens repeatedly, seek trauma-informed care. This protocol supports many people but is not a replacement for specialized treatment. Let's talk about habits and expectations. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting immediate, large-scale miracles. Some nights you'll notice nothing, and that's normal. Often the first changes are subtle, slightly less reactivity in the morning, a smaller cluster of anxious thoughts, a clearer sense of what to do first. Many people report those first subtle shifts within a few nights. More consistent changes commonly appear in 2 to 6 weeks. For larger life changes, career shifts, major relationship decisions, to ritual is a long game. It's the daily tuning of attention and reduction of cognitive noise that, compounded over months, creates conditions where opportunity is more likely to be seen and seized. A couple more anonymized examples may help you imagine typical timelines. A freelance graphic designer, juggling multiple clients, started the practice and noticed after 5 days that she was making cleaner choices about which projects to accept. She described waking with a clearer list rather than a fuzzy sense of obligation. Over 3 months, that clarity translated into more focused work and a modest increase in income outcomes that came from better decision-making rather than instant luck. A teacher with erratic planning periods used the ritual to prime for small improvements in classroom management. A one-sentence intention to notice one student's curiosity led to repeated small interactions that slowly shifted classroom dynamics. The result was not overnight transformation, but cumulative improvements in energy and sense of competence. Now, a few practical do and don't rules to keep the process honest and effective. Do write things by hand. Pen to paper matters. The tactile act reduces the tendency to endlessly edit and keeps your brain in a release mode. Do be specific in gratitude. Name the moment, the time, the person, the sensory detail. Vague gratitude tends to float away. Specific gratitude anchors the brain. Do keep intention sentences short, present tense, and emotionally descriptive. Don't write long lists of demands or outcomes. Don't use intention statements as wish lists like, "I will have X opportunity." Use them to describe how you want to show up and how you want to feel. Don't skip the micro-action. The single tiny behavior you commit to is the bridge between noticing and doing. If you live with a partner who resists the ritual, offer a very short mutual experiment. Let's try this 3-minute version for 5 nights. If it helps, we keep it. If not, we stop. People are often more willing to trial a brief practice than to accept a permanent lifestyle change. Frame it as collaborative and time-limited. For people who tend to overplan each night, writing long to-do lists that create the very mental churn. You're trying to avoid. Use a constraint. Limit your brain dump to a single page and impose a 5-minute timer. That constraint forces prioritization and prevents the ritual from becoming another planning session. After the timer, write 1 bullet labeled tomorrow's top priority and underline it. The rest can wait. Let's talk briefly about the science behind why paper matters and why specificity matters. Phrased cautiously and practically, writing by hand engages motor networks and memory circuits differently than typing. The physical act of writing slows thought enough for it to be categorized and released. Specific images and sensory detail are more likely to be encoded in episodic memory, which gives your brain distinct material to work with during sleep consolidation. The reticular activating system, the brain's early warning, attention filter, responds to repeated priority cues. When you repeatedly end your day with a clear, emotionally charged intention in a specific sensory scene, you are gently biasing that attentional filter to prioritize those cues upon waking. This is not mystical. It is the combination of priming and consolidation that makes noticing opportunities more likely. Now, let's return to a practical, extended, guided sequence you can use tonight. This version is longer than the quick micro practice and is designed for a full bedtime ritual. You can scale it down if you're interrupted, but if you have the time, this sequence takes around 20 to 25 minutes. Sit or lie down comfortably with a pen and paper within reach. Turn off screens and dim the lights. If you use a timer, set it to 5 minutes for the brain dump and another 2 to 3 minutes for the visualization. Though you may prefer to go by feel, begin with 4 cycles of 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale quietly through your nose to a steady count of 4. Hold gently for 7. Exhale completely through the mouth for 8. Repeat 4 times. After the last exhale, rest in a natural breathing rhythm for a few moments. Pick up your pen and spend 5 minutes doing the brain dump. Write everything, tasks, worries, ideas without editing. When the 5 minutes are done, tear the page off or fold it. Keep it bedside or place it in a drawer if you prefer. On a fresh page, write 3 specific gratitude. Be concrete. Include time or sensory detail. For example, grateful for the 9:12 a.m. walk when I heard the neighbor's daughter laugh, or grateful that my coworker brought my coffee when I ran late, so I had a quiet moment to plan. After the 3 gratitudes, write 1 short intention sentence in present tense about how you want to feel and how you want to behave. Keep it to 8 words or fewer if possible. Underline it. Beneath that sentence, write 1 microaction, 1 small, pre-decided behavior you will do within the first hour of waking. Fold the page and place it face up on the bedside table. If you share space, briefly exchange a single line of appreciation or read aloud your 1-sentence intentional more than 30 seconds. Lie back, close your eyes, and return to a calm breath. For the visualization, imagine tomorrow's morning from inside over the next 2 to 3 minutes. See sensory details. Rehearse 1 micro-open action and anchor 1 external cue. Include a small obstacle and imagine responding with the calm you intend. When the visualization ends, say your intention sentence quietly to yourself. Rest for 30 seconds, feeling the intention as a short chord in your body. Then, allow sleep to come. If you wake in the middle of the night, use a 2-minute protocol. Notice, label the thought. Note it briefly if you must on a small pad, 1 sentence only. Do 3 calming breaths, and return to focus on the breath or soft counting until you can drift back. Avoid picking up your phone. Night awakenings are frequent and often brief. The goal is to reduce reactivity so you can return to sleep. Before we close, let me remind you of a few ethical guardrails. This practice increases the odds that you'll notice opportunities and wake with clarity. It does not guarantee specific outcomes, nor is it a substitute for medical or psychiatric care when needed. If you have ongoing sleep disorders, trauma, or other health concerns, consult an appropriate professional. If you're taking medications that affect sleep, speak with your clinician before altering routines dramatically. Use caution with breath work if you have respiratory or cardiovascular conditions. Modify counts or consult a clinician as needed. Finally, a short, practical, micro practice you can do right now if you want to try it immediately. Sit up, set a timer for 90 seconds, and do 2 cycles of 4-7-8 breathing. Then, write 1 sentence on a scrap of paper. 1 thing you're grateful for today. Be specific. Below it, write 1 intention sentence for tomorrow, present tense, short and embodied. Fold the paper and place it face up on your bedside table. That's it? A tiny practice like this already shifts the content you feed into your last waking moments. If you follow the full protocol tonight, screens off 60 to 90 minutes before bed, for cycles of 4-7-8 breath, a 5-minute brain dump on real paper, 3 specific gratitudes, 1 short intention sentence, 1 micro action, a micro forgiveness line, and a brief first-person visualization, you've put a high-quality marker in your mind. You've asked your sleep to work on a particular problem, and you've lowered physiological arousal so overnight consolidation can do its job. Over time, that discipline compounds into clearer mornings, better decisions, and more frequent chances to act when opportunities appear. People call this luck. I call it prepared attention. Try this tonight. If you do, come back and tell me in 1 sentence what you noticed tomorrow morning. Subscribe for more practical routines that link sleep, cognition, and daily performance. If you want the 1-page bedtime ritual to print or save, check the description for the downloadable template. Now, if you're ready, let's close with a very short guided sequence you can use to end this session and carry the intention into sleep. Lie down comfortably. Place your hand lightly on your belly if that helps you feel the breath. 5 slow breaths together. Inhale gently to 4. Hold to 7. Exhale to 8. 1 cycle. Repeat 3 more cycles at the same pace. After the last exhale, soften your breath and bring to mind the 1 intention sentence you wrote. Say it silently to yourself twice, with gentle conviction. Picture the tiny action you will take tomorrow morning. See the external cue you selected. Feel 1 small sensation of readiness in your chest. Fold the image into a soft place in your mind. No need to push adjust. Let it sit like a bookmark at the edge of your awareness. Keep the page you wrote on face up and within sight in the morning. Allow the body to relax into whatever sleep comes next. You've given your brain a clear map and a calm body. That combination is powerful. Try it tonight and tell me in the comments, in 1 sentence, how you felt tomorrow morning. Subscribe if you want more guided routines and research-informed practices to improve sleep and sharpen attention. Thank you for trusting this process. May your nights be quieter and your mornings clearer.